Everyone abandoned us. Until the human vessel arrived. The red warning light blinked on Governor Alara's console for the 5th time that day. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, her slender blue fingers pressing against the cool metal desk. The Arcturian colony on Proxima B had just received another rejection from their supposed allies. "Play the message," she said to Communications Officer Zeth, who stood nervously by the door. The holographic display flickered to life above her desk. The stern face of Counselor Vrain appeared, his gray skin and multiple eyes showing no emotion, as he delivered the news. "Colony PX-2187, your request for evacuation has been denied. The Galactic Concord has reviewed your situation and determined that resource allocation for 30,000 colonists cannot be justified given the current shortages. This decision is final. May your final days bring you peace." The message ended. The room fell silent except for the constant hum of life support systems. "That makes 7 rejections," said Zeth quietly. "The Tellurians, the Vespians, even the Quantum Collective. Nobody will help us." Alara stood and walked to the large window overlooking the colony. From her office in the administration tower, she could see the busy streets below. Families, going about their days, children playing in the Central Plaza's fountains, vendors selling fresh produce from the hydroponic gardens. None of them knew yet that they had been abandoned. "How long do we have?" she asked. Chief Engineer Caleb stepped forward holding a data pad. His normally cheerful face was grim. "The asteroid belt destabilization is accelerating. Our latest calculations show impact events beginning in less than 14 months, major impacts within 18 months. And our evacuation ships? We have 7 short-range vessels. At maximum capacity, they could evacuate maybe 3,000 people to the outer moon. But the moon isn't self-sufficient. It would only delay the inevitable." Ilara's shoulders dropped slightly, but she kept her posture straight, as was expected of an Arcturian governor. "So we need help." "We need a miracle," Caleb said. Alara turned to face her small team. "Then we keep looking for one. Zeth, send messages beyond conquered space. There are independent worlds, nomad fleets. Someone must be willing to help." "The Conquered has forbidden contact outside their borders," Zeth reminded her. "The Conquered has also left us to die," Alara replied firmly. "I think we're beyond following their rules now." The morning briefing ended, and Alara was left alone in her office. She touched the silver pendant at her neck, a gift from her mother when Alara had first left their homeworld to lead this colony. It was meant to bring luck and protection. Both seemed to be in short supply lately. A soft chime indicated someone at her door. "Enter," she called. Dr. Maya stepped in, carrying medical reports. As the colony's chief physician, Maya had been working tirelessly to prepare for what was coming. "Governor, I've compiled the list of essential medicines we need to stockpile," she said, her voice tired but steady. "And I've begun training additional emergency medical personnel." "Thank you, Maya," Alara said, taking the report. "How are you holding up?" Maya's second eyelids fluttered, an Arcturian sign of distress. "I delivered 2 babies yesterday. Beautiful, healthy children. Their parents were so happy, making plans for their future." Her voice trailed off. Alara placed a hand on her friend's shoulder. "We haven't given up yet." "Of course not," Maya said, straightening. "I should get back to the hospital." After Maya left, Alara studied the colony's layout on the large wall map. 30,000 souls, farmers, teachers, engineers, artists. 2 centuries of building a life here, all to be erased because the Galactic Conquered had decided they weren't worth saving. The afternoon passed with Alara reviewing evacuation plans that wouldn't work and supply lists that couldn't be filled. As darkness fell, she finally left her office and walked through the streets of the colony toward her home. People nodded respectfully as she passed. A few stopped to chat, asking about supply shipments and maintenance schedules. Alara answered, their questions with reassuring lies. The council had decided to wait another week before making the announcement. One last week of normal life before everything changed. The central plaza was beautiful at night. Bioluminescent plants cast a soft blue glow over the gathering spaces. A small group played music while others danced. Children chased each other around the water features. Alara paused to watch, committing the scene to memory. This was what she was fighting to save. "Governor! Governor Alara!" She turned to see Caleb running toward her, his face flushed purple with excitement. "What is it?" she asked, alarmed by his urgency. "The deep space array," he gasped. "We've detected something, a ship, coming this way." "The Concord?" Alara asked, her heart's beating faster. "Have they changed their minds?" "No," Caleb said, eyes wide. "It's not Concord. It's not any design. We recognize the energy signature is completely foreign." "Pirates?" Alara's mind raced through the possibilities, few of them good. "I don't think so," Caleb said. "It's just one vessel, medium-sized, and it's broadcasting." "Broadcasting what?" "That's just it," Caleb said, lowering his voice as colonists walked past. "It's broadcasting a greeting. In mathematical sequences first, then in various languages. None of them Concord standard." Alara felt a chill run through her. "Take me to the communications center." They hurried through the streets, taking shortcuts through alleyways to avoid being stopped by colonists with questions. The communications center was housed in a dome at the edge of the colony. Its array of dishes pointed toward the stars. Inside, Zeth and a team of technicians huddled around a console, listening intently. "Play it again," Alara ordered as she entered. A voice filled the room, speaking words in an unfamiliar language. Then it shifted to another language, equally strange. "We've counted 14 different linguistic patterns," Zeth explained. "The computer doesn't recognize any of them. But the mathematical greeting at the beginning, it's a clear attempt at universal communication." "Can we respond?" Alara asked. "We've sent back the same mathematical sequence to show we understand," Caleb said. "They've adjusted course in response. They're heading directly for us now." "How long until they arrive?" "At their current speed, 3 days." Alara looked at the tracking display. A single ship, coming from beyond the borders of known space. Not Conquered. Not pirates, at least not any known group, a complete unknown. "Alert security, but quietly," she said after a moment of thought. "We don't want to cause panic and keep this among senior staff only for now." As she left the communications center, Alara looked up at the night sky. Somewhere up there, a ship was coming. Friend or foe, savior or new threat, she couldn't know. But after months of rejection and abandonment, it was the first change in their situation. For the first time in months, Alara felt something dangerous growing in her chest. "Hope. Whoever you are," she whispered to the stars, "please be kind. Everyone abandoned us. Until the human vessel arrived." Part 2 Lieutenant Joe Miller rubbed his tired eyes and stared at the scanner readings again. After 15 years of space exploration, humanity had found ruins, remnants, and fossils, but never living aliens. Until now. "Captain Green," he called, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "You need to see this." Captain Lisa Green walked across the bridge of the USS Horizon, her steps quick but measured. At 45, she had the calm confidence of someone who had earned her command through both skill and sacrifice. "What have you found, Lieutenant?" she asked, leaning over his shoulder to look at the display. "Life signs. Thousands of them. On the third planet." Joe pointed to the blue-green world on the screen. "And they're not human." The bridge fell silent. Science Officer Alan Beck abandoned his station and hurried over, his glasses sliding down his nose in his excitement. "Let me see," he said, pushing in beside them. "Amazing. The settlement pattern suggests an advanced civilization. Look at the energy grid layout. It's beautifully efficient." Captain Green straightened up. "Communications. Are we receiving any transmissions from the planet?" Communications Officer Natalie Wu adjusted her headset. "No, Captain. Wait. Yes. They're responding to our standard greeting. Mathematical sequence first, then it's not any language I recognize." "Run it through the translation matrix," Captain Green ordered. The bridge crew worked in focused silence, each person aware they were participating in a historic moment. the first contact between humanity and an alien civilization. The computer is establishing basic language parameters, Natalie reported. They're sending us more complex mathematical equations now. I think they're trying to build a shared language base. Send them our first contact package, Captain Green decided. All the basic information about humans, our biology, our peaceful intentions. Alan brought up an image of the planet on the main screen. Captain, I'm detecting unusual asteroid activity in this system. The outer belt appears highly unstable. Joe ran additional scans. He's right. Based on these trajectories, this planet is in trouble. Major impacts likely within a year or two. Maybe that's why they're here, Navigator Ben Riley suggested, from his station. Maybe they're looking for a new home. Captain Green considered this. Or maybe they need help. Natalie, how's that translation coming? Getting there, Captain, Natalie replied. I'm getting fragments. Something about grateful for response and abandoned by allies. Joe felt a chill. Abandoned? With an asteroid belt about to hit their planet? Keep working on that translation, Captain Green ordered. Ben, take us into orbit. Standard approach, defensive systems, passive but ready. The USS Horizon glided into orbit around Proxima b. Through the view screen they could see the alien settlement, a collection of domed structures connected by covered walkways, with fields of purple and blue vegetation surrounding it. Captain, Natalie called out, excitement in her voice. I'm getting a clear transmission, audio and visual. On screen, Captain Green said, straightening her uniform. The face that appeared on the screen made Joe catch his breath. The alien had blue skin, large almond-shaped eyes, and delicate features. She, at least Joe thought it was a she, wore some kind of silver uniform with symbols across the chest. Greetings, unknown vessel, the alien said, her words slightly out of sync with her mouth movements as the translation system worked. I am Governor Ilara of the Arcturian colony on Proxima b. We welcome your contact. Captain Green stepped forward. I am Captain Lisa Green of the United States Space Command, vessel USS Horizon from Earth. We come in peace and with friendship. Governor Ilara's large eyes blinked rapidly. Earth? You are humans? Lisa nodded. Yes, we are humans. Is that significant to you? The alien governor seemed to hesitate. We have heard stories of your kind. The Galactic Concord has declared your system off limits. They claim your species is too unpredictable, too dangerous for contact. Joe saw his captain stiffen slightly at this, but her voice remained diplomatic. We were unaware of any Galactic Concord or restrictions on our exploration. We've only developed faster than light travel within the last 15 years. This explains much, Ilara said. Your arrival is unexpected, but perhaps fortunate. Captain Green, my colony faces destruction. The asteroid belt surrounding our system has destabilized. Within 18 of your Earth months, major impacts will begin. We have sought help from our allies from the Conquered, but all have abandoned us. Alan stepped closer to the screen. Governor Ilara, I'm Science Officer Alan Beck. Our scans confirm the asteroid situation. May I ask why your allies refused assistance? Resources, Ilara replied simply. Our colony of 30,000 is deemed insufficient to justify the fuel expenditure for evacuation. Joe couldn't hide his shock. They're leaving you to die because it's not cost-effective to save you? Captain Green gave him a warning glance, but Ilara nodded. Your understanding is correct, Lieutenant. The Concord operates on strict resource allocation protocols. Our small colony does not meet the minimum population threshold for emergency evacuation. Captain Green's face hardened. Governor Ilara, we would like to offer our assistance. The Horizon cannot evacuate your entire colony, but we can begin helping with plans and perhaps emergency supplies. You would help us? Ilara's voice contained clear disbelief. Knowing nothing about us? Even after the Concord has labeled your kind as dangerous? Especially after hearing that, Lisa said with a small smile. Governor, humanity has its flaws, but we don't abandon people in need. regardless of species. With your permission, I'd like to send a small team to your surface to discuss how we might help. For a moment, Alara was silent. When she spoke again, her voice had a slight tremor. We would welcome your delegation, Captain Green. I will prepare a landing area and greeting party. After the transmission ended, the bridge erupted in excited conversation. Captain Green raised her hand for silence. I know this is a historic moment, she said. But let's remember these people are facing extinction. Our priority is to help them if we can. The horizon can't evacuate 30,000 aliens, Ben pointed out. We don't even have the life support systems for their biology. No, Lisa agreed. But Earth might help. Natalie, prepare a priority transmission to command. Include all our data on the Arcturians and their situation. Joe stood up from his station. Captain, request permission to join the landing party. Lisa studied him for a moment. Granted, Lieutenant. You, me, Alan, and Medical Officer Diaz. Full environmental suits until we confirm the atmosphere is safe for us. As they prepared for first contact, Joe couldn't help but wonder about this galactic concord that had declared humans dangerous, while abandoning their own allies. If helping people in need made humans dangerous in their eyes, maybe the label was one to wear with pride. We launch in 30 minutes, Captain Green announced. Let's make first contact one for the history books, for all the right reasons. Everyone abandoned us. Until the human vessel arrived. Part 3, the landing shuttle touched down gently on the designated platform. Captain Lisa Green took a deep breath inside her environmental suit and looked at her small team. Remember, she said, we're guests here. Be respectful, observe their customs, and follow my lead. The door opened with a soft hiss. Bright sunlight poured in, illuminating the alien landscape. The sky was a deeper blue than Earth's, and the vegetation surrounding the landing area shimmered with purple and teal colors. A group of Arcturians waited nearby. Governor Alara stood at the front, flanked by several officials in similar silver uniforms. Behind them, a crowd of colonists had gathered, their expressions a mixture of hope and fear. Lisa led her team down the ramp. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth's, making each step feel buoyant. When they reached the bottom, she removed her helmet after Medical Officer Diaz gave the signal that the air was safe to breathe. Governor Alara, Lisa said with a respectful nod. Thank you for welcoming us to your colony. Alara stepped forward. Up close, her blue skin had a subtle pattern of lighter markings across her forehead and cheeks. Her eyes were large and expressive, currently showing what Lisa interpreted as cautious optimism. Captain Green, Alara replied. This is a historic moment for both our peoples. Please follow me to our council chamber where we can speak more freely. As they walked through the colony, Joe Miller recorded everything with a small camera attached to his suit. The Arcturians had built a beautiful settlement. Gardens flourished between the buildings. Children played in open areas. If not for the looming disaster, this place would have thrived for generations. In the council chamber, a circular room with a domed ceiling, they sat around a polished stone table. Chief Engineer Caleb and Dr. Maya joined them, along with several other colony officials. We have analyzed your asteroid situation, Alan began, displaying holographic projections from his tablet. The belt destabilization is severe. We calculate major impacts beginning in 14 Earth months, with catastrophic events within 18 months. Our findings are similar, Caleb confirmed. Without intervention, Proxima B will become uninhabitable. Lisa leaned forward. Governor, we've sent a priority message to Earth. I believe our people will want to help yours, but I need to understand more about your situation and this galactic concord that has abandoned you. Alara nodded. The Concord is an alliance of 27 spacefaring species that controls most of this sector of space. Our people, the Arcturians, have been members for over 5 centuries. This colony was established 200 years ago as a scientific outpost initially, then grew into a permanent settlement. And they simply refused to evacuate you when the danger became clear? Joe asked, unable to hide his disbelief. The Concord operates on strict resource allocation protocols, Caleb explained. When the asteroid threat was discovered, we filed an emergency evacuation request. It was denied based on our population count and resource value assessment. Dr. War, Maya spoke up, her voice bitter. They determined that the fuel required to save 30,000 lives was better used elsewhere. They suggested we make peace with our fate instead. Lisa exchanged glances with her team. The cold calculation behind such a decision was shocking by human standards. "What about your own ships?" asked Medical Officer Diaz. "Surely after 200 years you have some space vessels." "We have 7 short-range vessels," Caleb said, "enough to evacuate perhaps 3,000 people to our system's outer moon. But the moon cannot sustain life long-term." Alan studied his tablet. "With 14 months until major impacts, there might be time for Earth to mount a rescue mission, but we would need to act quickly." Lisa nodded. "We need a full assessment of your population, any special needs for life support and nutrition, and an inventory of what you can bring with you." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "You would truly attempt this?" Ilara asked quietly. "The Concord has forbidden any contact with humans. They say your species is unpredictable, violent, and dangerously emotional in your decision-making." Joe laughed softly. "They might be right about the emotional part." "Governor," Lisa said seriously, "I can't promise what Earth will decide. But I know that no human leader would sleep well, knowing we left 30,000 people to die when we could have helped. It goes against everything we believe in." Ilara's eyes glistened with moisture. "The Concord teaches that primitive species like yours lack the capacity for true altruism, that your apparent kindness always hides selfish motives." "And what do you believe, Governor?" Lisa asked. "I believe that the people who abandoned us have lost their way," Ilara replied, "and perhaps those they fear might show us a better path." The meeting continued for hours as they exchanged information. The humans learned about Arcturian biology, their nutritional needs, and their cultural practices. The Arcturians learned about Earth, humanity's history, and their recent ventures into space. By evening, a plan was taking shape. Lisa would return to the horizon with comprehensive data about the colony. The ship would then head back to Earth at maximum speed to request a full-scale rescue mission. Meanwhile, Alan would stay behind with a small team to help the Arcturians prepare for evacuation. As they walked back to the landing platform, Governor Ilara pulled Lisa aside. "There is something else you should know," she said in a low voice. "If the Concord discovers we've made contact with humans, they may send ships to prevent our evacuation. They are very strict about maintaining their policy of isolation from your species." Lisa's eyes narrowed. "Are you saying they would rather see you die than be rescued by humans?" "Some factions within the Concord, yes," Ilara admitted. "They fear human expansion into space more than they value our lives." Lisa thought for a moment. "Then we'll need to be quick and quiet, and prepared for any interference." As the sun set over the colony, casting long shadows across the landing platform, Lisa made her final preparations to return to the horizon. Joe was staying behind with Alan and Diaz to continue gathering information. "Lieutenant," Lisa said to Joe before boarding the shuttle, "keep our friends safe." "Yes, Captain," Joe replied. "And if the Concord shows up before you get back?" Lisa's expression hardened. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But if it does, remember that protecting innocent lives is always our priority." As her shuttle lifted off, Lisa looked down at the beautiful colony below. In the fading light, she could see thousands of Arcturians gathered in the central plaza, watching her departure. For the first time in months, they had hope. Lisa tapped her communicator. "Horizon, this is Captain Green. Prepare for immediate departure as soon as I'm aboard. We're going back to Earth. We've got 30,000 people to save, and time is running out." Everyone abandoned us. Until the human vessel arrived. Part 4. 3 months had passed since Captain Green left for Earth. Lieutenant Joe Miller stood on a high platform overlooking the Arcturian colony, watching as they prepared for evacuation. The waiting was the hardest part. Each day the colonists looked to the sky, hoping to see human ships arriving to save them. Each night Joe checked the long-range scanners, praying they wouldn't detect Concord vessels coming to stop them. "Any news?" Governor Ilara asked, joining him on the platform. In the short time they had known each other, a strong friendship had formed between them. Nothing yet, Joe replied. But no news is good news. It means no conquered ships have been detected either. Ilara nodded, her blue skin glowing softly in the evening light. My people are becoming restless. Some wonder if your captain will truly return. She'll come back, Joe said firmly. Humans keep their promises. Below them, the colony was a hive of activity. Following Alan's suggestions, the Arcturians had begun organizing their possessions, deciding what to take and what to leave behind. Each person was allowed one small container of personal items. Everything else would remain on Proxima B. Dr. Maya wants to see you, Ilara said after a moment of silence. She has questions about human medical facilities. Joe nodded and followed Ilara down from the platform. As they walked through the streets, he noticed how much things had changed. Gone was the despair that had hung over the colony when he first arrived. Now there was purpose, determination, and even occasional laughter. At the medical center, Dr. Maya was cataloging supplies with Diaz. The human doctor had become a favorite among the Arcturians for his kind manner and endless curiosity. Lieutenant, Maya greeted him. I was hoping you could help us understand Earth's quarantine protocols. We want to be prepared. Joe explained what he knew about Earth's procedures for handling alien biology. Though humans had never encountered living aliens before, they had developed careful protocols based on scientific principles. Your people have thought of everything, Maya remarked, impressed. Not everything, Joe admitted, but we try to plan ahead. Their meeting was interrupted by a young Arcturian rushing into the room. Lieutenant Miller, he called, excitement in his voice. Communications Officer Zeth needs you immediately. Joe's heart jumped. Is it the captain? No, sir. It's... The messenger lowered his voice. It's a Concord scout ship. They've entered the system. Joe exchanged a worried glance with Ilara. We knew this might happen. How long until they reach us? 2 days at their current speed, the messenger replied. Joe activated his communicator. Alan, meet me at the command center. We've got company. In the colony's command center, Zeth showed them the scanner readings. A single Concord vessel was approaching slowly, as if trying to be stealthy. They're running with minimal energy signatures, Caleb noted. They don't want to be detected. Too late for that, Joe said grimly. What are our options? Ilara straightened her shoulders. We must hide all evidence of human presence. If they discover you here, they will report back to the Concord immediately. Alan stroked his chin thoughtfully. We can't hide the Horizon's entry into the system. Those energy signatures would have been detected months ago. But they don't know we stayed, Joe pointed out. We could hide in the abandoned mining outpost on the far side of the planet. That might work, Ilara agreed. But what if they scan the colony? They'll detect human life signs. Caleb suddenly snapped his fingers. The old shield generators. We modified them years ago to block certain scanning frequencies. If we recalibrate them, they might mask your biological signatures. For the next day, the humans and a select team of Arcturians worked frantically to prepare. Joe, Alan, and Diaz helped Caleb recalibrate the shield generators. All human equipment was hidden in secure locations. The few colonists who knew about the plan were sworn to secrecy. Just as they finished their preparations, the long-range scanners lit up with new contacts. Multiple ships entering the system, Zeth announced, his voice tense. Everyone froze, fearing the worst. Had the Concord sent a fleet to ensure the colony's abandonment? Are they Concord vessels? Ilara asked, her hands gripping the edge of the console. Zeth shook his head, his eyes wide with disbelief. No. They're human ships. Dozens of them. The command center erupted in cheers. Joe rushed to the scanner display, hardly daring to believe it. But there they were. The unmistakable energy signatures of human vessels, a whole fleet of them. How many? He asked, his voice cracking with emotion. I count 27 ships, Zeth replied, awe in his voice. Large vessels, much bigger than the Horizon. Joe grinned. Those are our colony ships. Each one can carry thousands of people. A transmission came through on the emergency frequency. Captain Green's voice filled the command center. Proxima B Colony, this is Captain Green of the Earth Fleet. Operation Sanctuary is underway. We have detected a Concord vessel in your system. Please advise on their status. Joe grabbed the communicator. Captain, this is Lieutenant Miller. One Concord scout ship approaching, but they don't know we're here yet. They're 2 days out. Your arrival will surely alert them, though. Understood, Lieutenant, Green replied. We'll handle the Concord vessel. Begin evacuation preparations immediately. Our fleet will reach your position in 12 hours. As the transmission ended, Ilara turned to Joe, her eyes filled with tears of joy. You did it, she whispered. Your people actually came for us. I told you they would, Joe said simply. The next hours were a blur of activity. The colony mobilized, completely, with every person assigned to evacuation teams. Children and elders would go first, followed by essential personnel and finally the remaining adults. From the command center, they watched as the Concord scout ship changed course, clearly having detected the human fleet. Instead of continuing toward Proxima B, it turned and accelerated, heading back the way it had come. They're running, Alan observed. Going to report to the Concord. Let them run, Joe said. By the time they bring back reinforcements, we'll be long gone. 12 hours later, the sky above Proxima B filled with ships. Massive colony vessels with Earth fleet emblazoned on their hulls moved into position around the planet. Smaller shuttles descended to the surface, landing in the areas the Arcturians had prepared. Captain Green's shuttle was the first to touch down. Joe, Ilara, and the colony leadership were waiting to greet her. Captain, Joe said, saluting crisply. Welcome back. Lisa smiled, exhaustion visible on her face but pride in her eyes. Sorry for the delay, Lieutenant. It took some convincing, but once Earth understood the situation, there was no question about what we'd do. Ilara stepped forward. Captain Green, I have no words to express what your return means to us. Lisa clasped the governor's hands in her own. Governor Ilara, on behalf of the people of Earth, I'm here to tell you that no one gets left behind. Not on our watch. Now let's get your people to safety before the Conquered decides to object more strongly. Everyone abandoned us. Until the human vessel arrived, Part 5 1 year later, Governor Ilara stood at the viewing window in her new office. Below her stretched New Arcturia, the settlement built specifically for her people on Earth's moon. The dome-covered city gleamed in the sunlight, its architecture a beautiful blend of Arcturian and human designs. Governor, the delegation from Earth is arriving, Caleb announced, entering the office. In the year since their rescue, he had become Ilara's chief advisor and liaison with human authorities. Thank you, Caleb. I'll be right there. Ilara took a moment to look beyond the lunar settlement to the blue sphere of Earth hanging in the black sky. Each time she saw it, she felt the same wave of gratitude. The planet that had saved her people when their own allies abandoned them. The landing area was crowded with Arcturians and humans alike. Children from both species played together while adults chatted in mixed groups. The initial language barriers had faded over months of daily interaction. The Earth shuttle touched down smoothly. Ilara smiled when she saw who emerged first. Captain Lisa Green, now Admiral Green, wearing her formal naval uniform with new insignia on her shoulders. Admiral? Ilara greeted her, clasping hands in the human way they had adopted. Welcome to New Arcturia. Governor Ilara, Lisa replied warmly. It looks more like home every time I visit. Behind Lisa came several other familiar faces. Lieutenant Joe Miller, now Captain Miller, Science Officer Alan Beck, and Dr. Diaz. They were followed by Frank Powell, the director of Earth's Space Initiative, who had championed the Arcturian rescue from the beginning. Before we begin the formal ceremony, Director Powell said, I wanted to share some news. Our deep space listening posts have detected conquered vessels at the edge of our solar system. They're observing, not approaching. Ilara nodded. They're trying to understand why we chose to align with humans instead of accepting our fate. Let them watch, Joe said. Maybe they'll learn something. The group walked through the settlement toward the central plaza. Arcturians stopped to greet them, many calling the humans by name. What had begun as a rescue mission had evolved into a true partnership between species. The central plaza was decorated for the anniversary celebration. A large monument stood at its center, a sculpture showing human and Arcturian hands clasped, together, rising from stone. Beneath it was written in both languages, "When everyone abandoned us, humanity extended their hand." On a raised platform, Ilara addressed the gathered crowd. 1 year ago today, the last evacuation ship left Proxima B. All 30,000 of our people were safely transported to Earth. Not a single life was lost. Cheers erupted from the crowd. 3 days after our evacuation was complete, the first major asteroid struck our former home, Ilara continued. The observatory images show that Proxima B is now uninhabitable. Had we remained, we would all be gone. She gestured to the human delegation, the species that our former allies feared. That, the Galactic Concord declared too dangerous for contact, proved to be our salvation. While those who claimed to be civilized abandoned us to die, humanity risked everything to save strangers. Lisa stepped forward to speak next. Earth had never encountered living aliens before meeting your people, she said. We didn't know what to expect. What we found were friends, people who, despite different biology and culture, share our fundamental values of compassion and cooperation. Director Powell took his turn at the podium. Today, we do more than celebrate a rescue. We celebrate a new beginning. The knowledge your people have shared with us has advanced our technology by decades. The cultural exchange has enriched both our societies. And today, we formalize this partnership. He unfolded an official document. By unanimous vote of Earth's United Nations, the Arcturian people are granted permanent residence rights within the Sol system, with New Arcturia recognized as a sovereign territory under Governor Ilara's leadership. More cheers filled the plaza. For the Arcturians, this meant security. They would never again face abandonment. As the formal ceremony continued, Joe found himself standing next to Dr. Maya, watching the celebration. Has there been any further contact from the Concord? She asked quietly. Joe nodded. One message sent through automated channels. They declared Earth a disruptive influence and forbade all Concord species from contacting us. Maya smiled. So nothing has changed. Actually, Joe said, something has changed. We've received transmissions from 7 other worlds, small, colonies like yours that have been deemed expendable by Concord protocols. They're reaching out looking for alternatives to Concord rule. Maya's eyes widened. You're going to help them too? We're considering it, Joe replied. Director Powell calls it the Sanctuary Initiative. Any peaceful civilization that wants to join us would be welcome. We have plenty of room in our solar system, and we can terraform more areas like we did for you here. Their conversation was interrupted by a small Arcturian child running up to Joe. Captain Miller, look what I made in school. The child held up a drawing showing stick figures with both blue and pink skin, holding hands under a starry sky. Joe knelt down to admire the artwork. That's beautiful, Tyra. Is that your human friend, Sam? The child nodded happily before running back to a group of mixed Arcturian and human children. Dr. Maya watched the interaction with a smile. Your species has a gift for connection. The Concord sees it as dangerous emotionality. They don't understand that it's your greatest strength. Later, as the celebration continued into the evening, Ilara and Lisa stood together watching Earth rise over the lunar horizon. Do you think the Concord will ever try to interfere with us? Ilara asked. Lisa considered the question. They might, but they'd be facing a unified front now, humans and Arcturians together, and soon perhaps others. We're stronger together than any of us are alone. When everyone abandoned us, Ilara said softly, humanity showed us a better way. Not cold calculations about resource allocation, but the simple principle that every life matters. That's the difference between mere existence and truly living, Lisa replied. And it's worth fighting for. As fireworks launched from the lunar surface, casting colorful light across the dome of New Arcturia, Ilara felt a sense of peace she had thought impossible a year ago. Her people were safe. Their culture would continue. And they had found not just rescuers, but true friends among the stars. In the darkness of space, the watching Concord vessels observed the celebration. Whether they understood what they were seeing, the birth of a new alliance that valued compassion over calculation, only time would tell. But one thing was certain. When everyone had abandoned the Arcturians, humanity's hand had reached out, across the stars. And in grasping it, both species had found something precious, a future brighter than either could have achieved alone.